Hello! Welcome! This is our second class of the Intermediate 1 course. Today we are going to study the simple past. Okay, so we are actually going to continue to see the simple past. Since last class we started with the verb to be, right? So today we are going to see how to use the simple past for all other verbs in English, okay? So come with me. So, we use the simple past to talk about actions and situations in the past. We use the simple past also to say when something happened in the past. For example, yesterday, last week, 2 or 3 years ago. Okay, so every time we can point an event in the past, we can use the simple past tense. Okay, so let's see how it works. So, most verbs in English are regular, which means that we only add ed in the end to form the simple past. Look here, so usually all regular verbs in English, they just receive ed to make the past. For example, the verb to stay. To stay, what is the past of the verb to stay? It's stayed. Stayed. Okay, we only add ed in the end. Now, you may ask, teacher, how about he, she, it? Are there any differences? Actually, there aren't. Look here. We are going to use stayed for all the subject pronouns, right? So, I stayed, you stayed, he, she, it stayed, we, you, they stayed. There are no differences, okay? Now, what we must learn now is how to add ed, and there are some rules to learn. But remember, these rules are not so important. The best way to learn this is by reading and practicing English, okay? But I'm going to provide you all the information you need. So first we are going to study the rules to add ed to some of the verbs in English, okay? So, when the verb ends in e, we are only going to add d in the end. For example, we have the verb to live. Okay, to live, what is the past of the verb to live? It's lived. So the verb already ends in e, and we are only going to add d in the end. Okay, very simple. Now, verbs ending in y, we have to pay attention to the letter that comes before the y. So, if the letter isn't a vowel, for example, enjoy, so we have vowel plus y. Now, in this case, there are no rules. We are only going to add ed in the end. This is actually not an exception. This is the rule, okay? We only add ed. The only difference is when before the y we have a consonant. For example, the verb to study. So in this case, before the y, we have the consonant d. So in these cases, we are going to lose the y and we are going to add ied. Okay? So it's very simple. When the verb ends in y and before the y, we have a consonant letter. So in these cases, we are going to lose the y and add ied, okay? These rules are not very important, so don't worry very much about them, okay? It's more important to use and to practice so that you can memorize the words. Now, there's also another rule which says that every time a word ends in consonant, vowel, and consonant, what we call a vowel sandwich. So in these cases, if the word has only one syllable, or if the stress is in the last syllable, we are going to double the final consonant. Oh, teacher, very complicated. No, it's not. Pay attention. So for example, the verb to stop. So to stop is a verb with only one syllable. We cannot split this word. So, it ends in consonant and is preceded by only one vowel. So we have consonant, vowel, consonant, or a vowel sandwich. So in this case, we are going to double the P. Remember, so stop in the past goes stopped, stopped. Okay? So this is because this word has only one syllable, as shop. So shop, shopped with double P. Okay? The same. Ends in consonant and is preceded by only one vowel. Now, when the word has more than one syllable, like prefer, we have to see the stress of the verb. The stress is the strong pronunciation. So in this case, we say prefer, prefer. So we have the stress in the last syllable. So in this case, we are also going to double the last consonant. Okay, so prefer, preferred, prefer, preferred. Okay, so as I told you, don't you worry much about these rules, okay? They are going to come easily and naturally as we study the language. Now, in the simple past, we also have some verbs which do not follow these rules I have just explained to you. So these are the irregular verbs. So in this case, we actually have to learn these words one by one. So the best way to learn these words is by practicing. But don't worry, I'm going to provide you a list of irregular verbs, okay, that you can download in the description of this video, and very soon I'm also going to make it available in my website, okay? So you can go at professormarcondes.com.br and you can also download this list, okay? But in the description of this video, you are going to find the list to download, okay? Now let's see only some irregular verbs just to make you understand, okay? So, for example, the verb to have. So in this case, the verb to have in the past is had. As I told you, remember, there are no differences for he, she, it. There are no differences, okay? I had, you had. He, she, it had. Okay? No difference at all. Now, the verb to sit, okay? So we say, I sat, you sat, he, she, it sat, we, you, they sat. Or the verb to think, okay? To think, think. So I thought, you thought, he, she, it thought, we, you, they thought. Okay? So as I told you, these verbs, there are no rules to form these verbs. So we have to actually know them. Okay? But don't you worry, I'm going to provide you the list of irregular verbs. Okay? Now, let us practice a little. Okay? So yesterday, Mary golf. And the verb is the verb to play. So what do you guys think? Play is a regular or an irregular verb? It is a regular verb, okay? It ends in Y, but it's preceded by a vowel, so we don't have to worry. We only add Ed, okay? So Mary played golf. Mary played golf. Now, last week, Tom, and I want to use the verb fight in the past. So the verb fight is actually an irregular verb. So the past of fight is fought. Okay, last week, Tom fought. Okay? And also the verb to swim. This morning, So swim is also an irregular verb. So we are going to say swam. I swam. This morning, I swam. So the past of swim is swam. Okay, now 2 years ago, Sue French, and I want to use the verb to teach. Okay, so what is the past of the verb to teach? To teach is also an irregular verb, and the past is taught. Taught. So you see, there's a very slight difference between the verb to teach, which the past is taught, and the verb to think, which the past is thought. Okay, so see, the difference is in the TH. Think, thought. Teach, taught. Okay? It's for us Portuguese speakers, it is not so easy to see the difference in the pronunciation, okay? But remember, every time you have TH, Okay, we are going to place our tongue right behind our teeth. Okay, so thought, thought, and thought. Totally different, but very similar, okay? So that's it, guys, okay? I wanted to review the simple past with you. I know it's a little complicated to memorize many verbs, but as I told you, remember, it is only the practice that is going to give you knowledge of irregular verbs in the past, okay? After we use them a little, you are going to understand them very easily, okay? And during our classes, I am going to bring many verbs here so that we can have contact with them, okay? So thank you very much for watching. See you next class.